Welcome back to Forza Motorsport. We're changing things up a little bit today. Today, we are talking about why I think Forza Motorsport 8 doesn't and will never exist. Let's talk about it. Before we get into this, two things to know. One, I realize I'm really bad at Forza Motorsport 7. I haven't played since basically Forza Horizon 4 has come out, so bear with my not so great driving. And two, if you haven't seen my video from a couple of days ago where we went into Forza Horizon 4 and we gave some predictions for Forza Horizon 4's second expansion, I highly suggest you check that out because we're going to be talking a little bit about that today and what it might mean going forward. So if you haven't seen it, it'll be linked down below. For example, in that video, one of the things I mentioned is that the next Forza Horizon 4 expansion will be getting announced next Tuesday. However, that's not the only thing that's going to be getting announced next Tuesday. The next Forza game will also be getting announced on Tuesday. Announced, mentioned, shown off, they're going to talk about it in some regard. We don't know exactly what yet, but stay tuned. So, as I like to do before Forza makes any announcements, I always like to go and make some predictions about the future of Forza and see if I'm right. So, if you guys have any predictions about the next Forza game, put them down below. Let me know what you think of my thoughts. And let's get into this. We're going to talk about the release date and what the future of Forza might be. So let's start it off with the release date. When is the next Forza game gonna be coming out? Well, I've spoken about it before, I've hinted at it before. There is gonna be no Forza game coming out in 2019. Okay, we don't talk about that. We just pretend that Forza Street never existed and that's about it. And we just keep on moving forward. So why exactly won't there be a Forza game in 2019? Well, that's because Xbox is currently hard at work on the next generation of Xbox. They have codenamed it Xbox Scarlet, and that is going to be releasing in 2020. Possibly. We don't exactly know just yet. Now here's the thing. Forza games have always been used as a showcase title for Xboxes in the past. For example, take a look at Forza Motorsport 7 being used to showcase the Xbox One X 4K 60 FPS. Or way back for Forza Motorsport 5 when the original Xbox One came out. You can even go back further and further and take a look at games like Forza Motorsport 4 on the Xbox 360 or even Forza Horizon 3 showcasing HDR on the Xbox One S. So the next Forza game will obviously follow this same recipe. It will be a showcase title for the next Xbox. That means if the Xbox Scarlet, as it's codenamed right now, only releases in November of 2020, as previous consoles have before, that means the next Forza game will be delayed until the same time. So although we might be hearing about the next Forza game come next Tuesday, we won't actually be able to see the game, I would imagine, for almost another year and a half. So that's when the game might be coming out, but what exactly will the next Forza game be? Now, I've said before that I don't think Forza Motorsport 8 will exist, and here's why. I've recently been noticing a common trend among Forza games. Forza slowly has been changing to a living game, a service-based game. What that means is you go out and you buy the game day one, and then they continue to update it, continue to add more features as the game lives on. We've seen this, for example, with Forza Motorsport 7 already. Just released a little while ago was the Forza race regulations that actually gives people penalties, which is awesome. We've seen a big drift update, as well as meetups in lobbies. It's very cool. We've had updated car sounds in Forza Motorsport 7 and continuous monthly updates. I think the next Forza game is gonna follow in this trend. So why exactly wouldn't it be called Forza Motorsport 8? One, I just don't think the name Forza Motorsport 8 sounds very good, but two, I think they're gonna be going with a more generic Forza Motorsport title. That's it. I just think it's gonna be called Forza Motorsport. That's it. No numbers, no nothing. If you ask me, this next Forza game is going to be the Forza game. So that means every few months we're gonna be getting new cars, maybe new tracks, new features, things like that. Obviously, I have no idea what the next Forza game will include in terms of cars or tracks, We'll have to see. I imagine what we have now is probably going to transfer over quite a bit, and then we'll obviously get some new stuff as well. I would imagine new features like the drift cam or the Forza race regulations will be moving over to the new game as well. And obviously we know nothing about the Xbox Scarlett, the new generation of Xbox console, in terms of its performance, what it can do, its power and things like that, but I would imagine we're going to be sticking with the 4K 60 FPS that we have in Forza Motorsport 7 right now. Maybe one thing I could see them doing is possibly upping the amount of players that you could get in a lobby from 24 to maybe 48 on certain tracks. For example, I think it would be super cool if we could have a 48-man like IndyCar lobby or a NASCAR lobby. It would be absolute chaos, but it would be super cool. So the long story short is I have no idea what's going to be happening with Forza Motorsport 8 or Forza Motorsport, whatever they choose to call it. The main gist of this is that I don't think the next game will actually be called Forza Motorsport 8. I think it's just going to be Forza Motorsport. One of the issues that I think they might have if they do go down this line of having a Forza Motorsport game just be the be-all and end-all game is how they're gonna generate income for this. Obviously, by selling a game every 2 years, they're generating a lot of income from the same people buying it over and over. And especially if the next game is an Xbox Game Pass game, that would mean that no one would have to even buy it. I mean, that's for the guys over at Forza to figure out how they're gonna make money from this thing, either by selling updates, expansions, maybe going with like a service fee like other racing sims have. It's possible, I don't know. However, I could see fans being a little bit iffy on that one, but we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the comments down below. How would Forza actually go and make money with a game where you essentially only buy it once? What would you be okay with? Let me know what you think about the next Forza game in the comments down below as well, and maybe if we get some really good ones, I can make another video based on what you guys have to say. Regardless, though, we are going to be hearing about the next Forza game come next Tuesday, so make sure you subscribe for that. Oh, and before we forget, and before we end this, Forza Horizon 4 second expansion. The teases have continued about what the second expansion is gonna be. If you watched my video from the other day, I was saying that the mini cars idea has been rolling and rolling. And Forza's recently done 2 different teases. One, they posted this picture of their office with a bunch of minis around. And 2, their update live stream for next week is also a picture of a mini. I'm just gonna say if update 2 is just about minis, I'm gonna be seriously disappointed. Regardless, though, we'll have to see about it. If you want to know more about Expansion 2, check out the link below. Oh, and also in that photo, there was also an Apollo, the IE. I would imagine we'll see that coming to Forza Horizon 4 very soon. That's gonna be about it, though. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Forza Motorsport 8 or Forza Motorsport video. I don't really know what to call it anymore. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned because next week, I'm gonna bring you guys the news here first, so make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Tuesday when we reveal the second expansion for Forza Horizon 4 and the future of Forza Motorsport. See you guys then. Bye!